Hello, everyone. And for those who are here now and for those who come in on the replay, welcome to Vlog Media Breeze. If you are new here, then please click the thumbs up hand and click the bell and also the word subscribe. And then while we are here, you can also get over here in the chat and I'll recognize your important comments by putting them onto the screen at times. And let's just go ahead and dig right in. I know many of us have been following this Tasha K and CardiB trial, and it has really been bothersome to me. I wasn't going to say anything about it over here on this channel, and I also was just going to look at the other channels if I had time. Um, I'm bothered mainly by some of the misinformation. I'm also bothered by the lack of objectivity by people who love to say that they are journalists and they are not. Before I get into it, though, I want you to kind of just, just, I want you to hear something for a moment, okay? I'm going to share something with you that is so relevant and important. And then I'm going to provide you with my source, okay? This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers. I want to go back to the without natural affection because without natural affection, I think we all know what that means. When you go and you look into the Hebrew origin of the content of the Bible, you can use your concordance to do so. But it is, for example, it is very natural for a man to be attracted to a woman and a woman to be attracted to a man. So I'll say that. So then it goes on to say truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. People who try to do malicious things against other people are despisers of those who are good. People are always trying to do things against me. Um, Traitors, heady, high minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God. So people will love pleasure more than they love God. Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. Then it goes on to say, and this is a commandment, from such turn away. When it says from such turn away, that means have nothing to do with the aforementioned traits. You can find this in your Bible, the King James Version or the NIV, in 2 Timothy chapter 3, verses 1 through 5. It says, have nothing to do with them. From such turn away. I want to tell you, and I want you to listen to why I believe this is so prevalent. Number one, and I haven't talked about it yet because I haven't really dug down deep enough to make it presentable here. But number one is we are definitely living in perilous times. If the pandemic is not an example of perilous times, then I don't know what is. We also are living in times when people really are lovers of themselves. They really are. And they have a form of godliness, but they lack it. They are not godly at all. They are despisers of those who do good. Quite like the ones who keep showing up over here and they think that I don't see them and they have actually done some things. They are despisers of people who are doing good. These people, when they leave this earth, will not be in the kingdom. They have nothing to look forward to. And that's why Satan has wrapped his arms around them. How does all of this apply to the content? It applies to the content in that when you look at what is going on between CardiB and Tasha K, you can look at both sides and you can see the good and you can see the bad in CardiB. You can see the good and you can see the bad in Tasha K. No one is perfect. I haven't read this to you, but it's here and you can find it. Slander is ungodly. It is ungodly to make comments about people that are not true. That is why God does not like gossip. Generally, when you are with people who gossip, eventually something that is not true is going to come out, and that's going to be slander. So I've always thought that's definitely one of the reasons that God said, don't gossip. Slander is a lie. It's just a blatant lie. A lot of the people who are talking about the trial have so many emotions caught up in it that they are not objective. One of those people who is really caught up in the trial, he actually started out as a stalker of Tasha K. And that is why you will hear him over on his Instagram. Everything he says is against Tasha K. And he even lied and said that Cardi B reached out to him to have him find Tasha K for her. The reality is he reached out to Cardi B and she replied to him. And then he went around stalking Tasha K, knocking on her neighbors' doors or her old neighbors' doors, trying to locate her. And he called himself a journalist. I want to really just share with you. Let me get rid of this. Okay, good. Something, and it talks about journalism because I'm so annoyed with people coming over here building a YouTube channel. We are content providers or content producers or commentaries or whatever, opinionators. Now I can qualify to be a journalist. I did go to college for journalism and communications and I minored in marketing. I have a master's in business administration. So I could go out and get a job in journalism. I could have even years ago and be a qualified journalist. But a lot of people over here on these, for example, Tasha K is not a journalist. Tasha K is a YouTuber and or a content provider. She didn't even finish ninth grade, to let her tell it. These are her words. She did not finish ninth grade. So she's not a journalist. To be a journalist, the number one thing you need to do is go to college and get a degree in journalism, most of the time, to be an accredited journalist, or you are hired by a news station who trains you to move forward and to become a journalist. And journalism has ethics and applications that must be followed and processes about how you obtain information. It is also monitored by the FCC. The Federal Communications Commission monitors the news stations, monitors television overall, but monitors the news stations. So you would need to be connected with them. And this is no slight to Tasha K. Let me be real clear. I love Tasha K. And I see this person going in and out over here, the hacker. I know you are a hacker. Tasha K, I like Tasha K. So I want to be real clear on that. In fact, my history, Tasha K was the first YouTuber I listened to that I found on YouTube. I don't know what made me turn on YouTube one day years ago, but I did. And her content was the first that I heard. And soon after I turned on her YouTube, turned on to Tasha K, her and Lovely T began having a little bit of a battle, which was a turnoff to me. I even saw the star, the interview that she did with the young lady named Star. I had to leave that video. I had to just completely log off because it was so um it was so derogatory and scandalous, and I thought, what female would sit down and say the things about Cardi B that Star was saying in that interview? It was deplorable. I just couldn't believe it. I thought, what woman says those things about another woman? Um, but I want to go ahead, and before I start to give my commentary on what I think, and I will also provide you the sources that I used. I want to go on and say this Dennis Byron character, if he is a journalist, he has missed the whole mark. And I don't believe he is a journalist. I just don't. A good journalist is fair. They're not one-sided. Everything he's saying is completely against he has an axe to grind with Tasha K. I don't know what judge in Virginia thought it was okay to issue a restraining order against Tasha K. Doesn't want to be around Dennis. Dennis is a Looney Tune. He's unhinged. If he wants to be to be a journalist, you need to have, of course, good speaking skills, good writing skills, as well as other qualities. You have to like critical thinking, a hunger for news, where you go after news. He doesn't go after news. He goes after people that he has an axe to grind with. What the things he reports on are really not even news, and the way he reports it is just pathetic. And people are on YouTube giving him all of these accolades. You need to have a really burning desire to tell a good story, regardless of the medium that you're using. And he doesn't have that. His only thing was to stalk a YouTuber. And then he went out and he slandered her. So what's to be said about that? Should her and her attorneys take him to court? Um, you have to have some integrity. Of course, you have to be courageous to be out there in those fields like that. And while I'm quite courageous, I'm not. There are certain limits I have. So that's why I didn't go all the way into journalism. You in journalism, you're not getting paid a whole lot of money, first of all, when you first start. And then you have to start from the bottom and get your grind on. So in order to move in certain spaces in that profession, that's why you see very few people doing that. And you see a lot of other people trying to prove that they can do it by doing these very challenging, stories. And some journalists have been unlived for going after a story. I remember a journalist in Winston-Salem some years ago was unlived. She was going to an interview, and the person she was going to interview or be exposing um, unlived her. And you have to have really strong communication skills, be really tech savvy, especially today, because a lot of times when you see the journalists standing out and you're looking at them on TV and you think that there's a camera person behind the camera, but no, that journalist has actually set that camera up himself or herself, and there's no one behind it. They're remotely controlling it. So you really have to be tech savvy. And I don't see him with any of that. I don't see him as a person who is fair, objective. He's very one sided. And I thought his background was in accounting or something. And he just started, it looks like I think he has some kind of magazine or something. At any rate, I digress on that. That was important for me to preface my commentary with that information so that I could move forward and it would be clearer about why I'm saying some of the things that I'm saying, because I'm going to give you a different take on this story. I'm going to give you a very different take on, as opposed to what many of my fellow content providers on here are saying. I'm giving you a different idea, a different way to look at it, because you have a lot of people who are focused. They have such hatred for Tasha K that they think that Cardi B is the good angel and Tasha K is the bad angel. They are both bad angels. Okay. In my title, I say allegedly Cardi B has perjured herself. I say that because Tasha K admitted this week. Well, first of all, let me tell you my source. My sources are Anonymous T, and Anonymous T said that she got her information from Billboard. I also have another source called the Jasmine brand that I go into often. So the information that I'm giving you here today came from those sources, and I have documented them in the description. And I placed a link for Anonymous T. Shout out to Anonymous T. I do not agree with her on what she is saying about Dennis Byron, but I do love her content, and she's intelligent, and her content is well thought out, and it's enticing. It's enticing. Cardi Tasha K admitted to slander when she said that she lied about Cardi B's STDs and that she lied about cheating happening with Cardi B, between Cardi B and her husband. When Tasha K said, when they said that she admitted to lying about those things, I had to ask myself, where the freak are her attorneys really? Are her attorneys in this universe? If you look at my previous videos, I've done two previous videos where I said Tasha K's attorneys are not good attorneys. They are the most incompetent attorneys that I have ever seen publicly represent someone. They are doing her no justice. An attorney's job, part of an attorney's job, is to prepare their client for trial. Why did they allow Tasha K to testify? Why did they allow her husband to testify? And if they were going to allow them to testify, they should have told them how to handle this. Knowing how the judge has admonished her attorneys, they should have been more cautious about how they move forward with Tasha K and whether or not she should testify. Um, so if you recall, and I have to say this, let me see here. Sorry, guys. I'm pausing here. I did something wrong. Um, it, I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Can you see this? So, see Cardi B, Tasha K. Um, but I want to just share with you that Cardi B herself has another case pending in the state of New York when she ran up on some girls in some bar because of her husband's cheating. So that could not have been a full-on lie. But she has another case pending where the girls have admitted to being with her man and have admitted to her running up on them, her girls, to beat them up. One of them, I think, got injured in that altercation. So that happened. That actually happened. Um, the other thing is, okay, so I'm sorry, I'm getting turned around here. The other thing is with regards to Tasha K saying, okay, she admitted to lying about the cheating. She also admitted to um, lying about Cardi B being, a woman who sells her private intimacy to men. Um, which I don't think that Cardi B does it in that way, right? However, on her own Instagram, she admitted, and CNN did a story on this. She admitted to um, finagling men out of money, like stealing their money. Where is that story with CNN? I hope I can find it. I don't know if I can, but if I can, I'll share that with you as well. I'll share that. I'll share that later. Um, but she admitted to where is it? I want to see if I can find it, guys. Okay, I don't think I can. I don't think I can. No, I can't find it. Okay, so it's not a match for this system. That's why I can't find it. But she admitted to um, uh, uh, giving men some sort of concoction and taking their money. That wasn't just Tasha K saying that. That was CNN, that was uh the Jasmine brand, that was major news outlets as well as major social media outlets. So whenever I put here Cardi B perjured herself allegedly, I mean these are things that she said herself. And she also said that she could not Cardi B said that she could not have relations with her husband. Meanwhile, throughout this whole process, they've had a baby. They've had a second baby. Now, I like Cardi B's music. I like her. She is very likable. She's grown a lot as a young woman. Whenever I used to watch Love and Hip Hop New York, I could see that she didn't really want to be there. But if you saw her on that stage trying to fight other women, it was deplorable. She supposedly has grown from that. She seems to be a lot more mature now. But I think the thing that really got the Cardi B didn't like Cardi B said that she was what'd she say? She said she was suicidal, uh that and she couldn't have relations with her husband, that it really stressed her out. Slander will stress you out. I'm not taking that away from her. I do believe that. But you've had a whole baby. So intimacy was not a problem between you and your husband. It doesn't seem allegedly that it was. Also, you've been, going around doing shows, national shows like the American Music Awards and things like that. And I think the thing that really got to Cardi is the thing that she said got to her. Because remember on her Instagram, Cardi B said, she said the words out of her mouth, I don't mind this girl. She can say whatever she wants to about me. But when you talk about my daughter, so before that, she said the girl could say whatever she wants about her. She became upset. And really, Tasha K, you should not have been talking about her daughter. You don't talk about other people's kids. Do you want people talking about your son? I'm wondering because you know that Tasha K is very good friends with Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj has actually been on Tasha K's channel, and Nicki Minaj was supposed to repay the favor to Tasha K by having Tasha K on her channel. But what happened was Nicki Minaj came over to Tasha's channel, and then when Tasha got ready to go over to Nicki Minaj's channel, for some reason that got canceled. Tasha never made it over to Nicki Minaj's channel. But her and Nicki Minaj remained friends. And Nicki Minaj and Cardi B are not friends, which I never understood that because at one point I thought Cardi B said that Nicki Minaj, she looked up to her, she liked her. But I think something happened after they did a collaboration. Nicki is a very, up and down kind of person. Nicki moves kind of funny. When I read what I read about her, and Cardi doesn't move kind of funny. You kind of know what Cardi is all about out here. And I like her as a young woman, so I'm not here to slight Cardi or Tasha K. I do not know those two young women. They're both beautiful young women. I really do not take any pleasure in what either of them are going through. Yet I hear YouTubers over there, they're getting their life from this. Can you imagine? People's lives are being torn apart and you're excited about it. You're like, oh, I can't wait till next week. I've heard YouTubers say, oh, I can't wait till next week. I'm going to get my life. And I'm like, that's your life? What's going on with them is your life? You shouldn't even be saying that. That's, I digress. But I wanted to come on and just talk about the pieces of information that I'm hearing out here. Again, my sources are Anonymous T, whose source is Billboard, and I also went over to Billboard to confirm that that is definitely her source. Also, the Jasmine brand is my source, and um, CNN.com. Um, Here is something else. They say Tasha K received 3 cease and desists from Cardi B. That's somebody I don't know anyone who's received 3 cease and desists. Most people get the one and they're done. They don't want any trouble. I just I, I think that Tasha K really has taken advantage of what she has with YouTube. as opposed to being grateful and trying to hang on to it. She has allowed some of the innate ways of how she was raised to stay with her, as opposed to putting all that behind her and saying, okay, you send me a cease and desist. I will cease and desist because there are other things out here. I'm going to tell you something that I believe. Now I want you to listen to this, right? Because I've seen this happen so much. Anytime that you put money first, if money is the reason you wake up every day, things are things are eventually not going to work out for you. That's just been what I've seen people go through. I've seen people who put money first, and they seem very scatterbrained. They don't always seem focused. You've got to have your value system. I would think, anyway, for me, it's my values, it's my character, it's my other priorities. Because money, really, at the end of the day, as we will see in our own near future, it's just a source. Everything is turning crypto, right? So money is going to completely change its face. People who once worshipped the dollar bill are going to now worship the crypto. So they're going to look a little scattered as well. When you get three cease and desist and you ignore all three, that's problematic. But I don't want to talk negative about whatever decisions Tasha K made. She made those decisions. I really believe that in life, for me anyway, when I'm going through something very negative or something bad, there's always something I can learn from it about myself and how I handle things and what I would do differently being in that same situation. One of the things I wanted to put in my title was that Tasha K might have a mistrial. She might have a reason to call a mistrial. And here's why. If you have attorneys who are incompetent and they are representing you, that's grounds for a mistrial. If you have a judge like the judge she has who has done nothing but admonish her based on her attorney's behavior, the judge has, I think this judge, you guys, allegedly, in my humble opinion, and from what I understand, he's been there a long time. I think this judge is not only a colorist, but a somewhat possible racist. I think the sight of Tasha K makes him angry. The sight of her blackness makes him angry. A colorist because, of course, Cardi B is lighter than Tasha K. So, of course, he's looking, well, at least she's lighter. Do not put anything past people who are in high positions to think in the same way as the rest of us or the rest of them, depending on which side of the tracks you're on. Okay? The judge has been very rude to Tasha K. He's been very unprofessional and just um, impatient. And he's done all of this in the presence of the jury. That's grounds for mistrial. And Tasha K needs to start looking into that right now. And as she's looking into it, she needs to look into other attorneys. There is no reason why she shouldn't be further ahead in this case than she is. And from what I understand, whenever I was listening to Anonymous T, one of the jurors clutched her pearls or clutched her chest whenever she was looking at one of the videos on Tasha K. And not only that, but they have also had to dismiss a juror for making antagonistic comments towards Tasha K. The jurors are responding to Tasha K because they see that the judge is disrespecting Tasha K. The judge is disrespecting her. He's disrespecting her attorneys, who, by the way, are incompetent. So I don't really care if he's disrespecting them. They, for Tasha K to have spent as much time as I've heard she spent with them in their office, and they get to this point and they don't even know how to tell her she should not testify, that she should plead the fifth, put all of that burden on Cardi now. Reverse it. So I see so you put that burden on her. I see I have the same people over here. You guys are evil. You're part of the reason I opened it up with a scripture. You are evil. I mean it. You're evil. Marquette, what is it? Marquitha, Damien. Let's see here. I'm sorry, I'm pausing real quickly because we are now, just want to show this real quickly. Sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Bear with me. So let's see what's next. What else? Let's see. I may have covered everything. Oh, this is the other thing, you guys. Oh my word. I have never heard of the US Marshals and the US Treasury showing up in the courtroom. I've just not heard of that. Maybe I don't watch enough trials. Uh, but Anonymous T said the US Marshals as well as the US Treasury were all in the courtroom. Now, what does that mean? That means that they are following the money and that they are also, whomever they are there for, they are listening to every word of the testimony. That made me also wonder. I don't think that Tasha K's legal team is really on her side. I think they knew the US Marshals and the US Treasury were going to be there. And I think that a lot of what they are doing against Tasha K is intentional. I think it is all intentional. They're not doing the work. She's probably had to go in there and do the work. I'm wondering, is Google in the courtroom? Because Google owns YouTube. Tasha K is a big YouTuber, and Google watches Black people. You know that, right? Google has an axe to grind with Black YouTubers because they don't like when we are talking about certain things that bother the Black community or enhance the Black community. They really, I don't care what they say to you in their own bylaws, their actions show you different. So you should believe a person's actions and not what they say their bylaws are. If their bylaws are different than their actions, that means that they're sticking with their actions. And there are a lot of YouTubers that Google are going in on who are African American. They've done all kinds of things to them. And I'm one. And one of the Google people is here now. Okay. Um, I just think the judge is unhinged, and against Tasha K. And in amid all of this that Tasha K is going on, her mentee Storm Monroe. I was on his channel the other night, and he's talking about some things that are going on with Tasha K, Von Ray, and Chelsea. Well, let me just be real clear. Chelsea's very unprofessional. I was shocked because the first video I saw with Chelsea and Tasha K and the other young lady, they were very professional, and Chelsea came across as being very professional. But when I see her, as a production manager, you should really be someone who is a professional in the background. And if you do come out to the forefront, you need to present yourself in a certain kind of way. And one of those ways is not fraternizing with the interviewees. Now, her and Bon Ray look really cute together, but I was like, wow, that's interesting because he's someone that Tasha K interviewed. Why would you be having anything to do with him? Um, So if you go over to Storm Monroe's channel, you can get all that. I'm not going to get into it with you, but I was looking at that because I was like, okay, I wonder, is all of this true? This going down with all of them, or is it a decoy so that we don't focus so much on what's going on with Tasha K, that we will, focus more on what's going on with Von Ray and Chelsea and Storm and etc. Um, I was also surprised to learn, and I think Tasha K really needs a business advisor. A lot of you YouTubers need a business advisor, or if you do not have a business advisor, you can go to the what is it, the Small Business Administration or the Chamber of Commerce. Okay, where there's something called SCORE, SCORE. Most large cities have something called SCORE, and I think that they are a organization that is a part of the Small Business Administration in larger cities. What they do is they advise you on your business and how to make it grow or how to start a business. And it's free. It's a free service in most cities. And I think that people who are on YouTube right now need to take advantage of that because it shocked me that Tasha K didn't have even a handbook. They have something called Kibi Studios. They also have businesses, and they don't have a company handbook with bylaws. And she just implemented a bylaw that said you can't fraternize with interviewers. Well, most journalists have those bylaws already. Most news stations have those bylaws already implemented in their handbook. So if you are a journalist, that's one of the first things that you have in your handbook is you don't fraternize with the people you're interviewing with. You're supposed to sit there and be objective with them. You're not having them over the dinner. You're not ending up moving in and living with them and having all these beefs with them. You're not running around looking for a place to rent for them. You can give them resources to go get a place to rent, but you're not getting that involved with the people that you interview. And I think that Tasha K allows a lot of her emotions to get caught up in the people that she wants to interview with. And she thinks that's okay. And it's not okay. And that's not what a journalist does. Her attorneys are responsible for obtaining preliminary information, like any questions from the other side. Her attorneys are responsible to communicating with the other side when they need to. And one of the times that they need to is it's okay for the attorney to say to the opposite attorney, hey, can you tell me some of the questions, what line of questions you're going to be using? And I thought that And correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that they were also required to tell each other who the witnesses are and what they were going to be looking for. Attorneys are supposed to prepare each other to a degree on those things. So for Tasha K to get on the stand and continue to say, I don't understand the question, she should have known the question through her attorney. Her attorney should have said, they're going to ask you this, they're going to ask you this, this is how you are to handle that. That's what an attorney does. Her attorneys, you guys, Tasha K needs to um, send in for a mistrial. In the state of Georgia, I don't know how that's done, but she needs to send in and get a mistrial. Don't pay CardiB nothing. Don't pass go. Don't go to jail. Pass her something that says that you're asking for a mistrial because her attorneys are failing her. The judge has admonished her on every move, and the jurors are sitting right there watching the judge admonish her, and they are responding to her based on the judge's actions. Originally in my previous videos, I thought that this case might set a precedent, but because this case it has to do mostly with defamation of character and slander, there's not too many other precedents that you can set out there for it. Things are already in place to border that. So I don't know that it will set a precedent. Um, the only precedent I can see is that you get a bad judge who hates you, and that's okay for you to lose. Because that's why Tasha K is losing this case. It has to do with her attorneys and the judge, and the jurors have fallen prey to it because they are watching the judge's response and they are acting based on that. That's why they had to dismiss a juror. You're in the courtroom and the judge is doing you like that. He's a freaking racist and or colorist because Cardi is lighter than Tasha and he's beating up on Tasha. But he didn't say anything to Cardi about the videos that she made that really support a lot of what Tasha has claimed against her. And she cried. Cardi B got some good attorneys. Her attorneys are very good. But you know what? They're from New York. So even the lowest of the low of attorneys in New York is going to be good. Her attorneys are very good. And they probably told her to cry. Cardi ain't been crying over this case. Are you kidding me? I do agree with her not taking this mess off of anyone, though. When she said, you know what, I'm going to take that blogger to court because she keeps bothering me. She keeps bothering my friends. And she can say what she wants to about me, but when you talk about my daughter, I get that. I get that. I take her to court. You talk about my kids, and my kids are grown. You talk about my kids, we're going to court. Okay? Um I just wish a precedent would be set for people like down the rabbit hole and that gang. That those people who come over here doxing people and they're the ones who need to go to prison for cyberbullying and doxing. When we find ourselves in positions in life, certain positions, it's so important that we look at the entirety of the space where we are dwelling at that moment. And I hope that Tasha K is doing that, that she's looking at the proximity of where she is now compared to where she could have been had she even complied to the first cease and desist. And it would probably be a good idea for someone like her to write down the things of her past and write down the things of where she is now and write down where she wants to go and figure out how she's going to get there in terms of character, not in terms of um, the tangible things, but in terms of the the intangible, the values, the character, the morale. I was listening to her channel the other week, and she said she would even drag her mother. And then in another breath, she's talking about God. Well, listen, God said to honor your mother and your father so that your days will be long. So you can't drag your mother and then say you worship God, Tasha K. Something's wrong with your brain, that you're really off to say something like that. Regardless of what our parents do, we are supposed to honor them. Can you have an adult conversation that will set up some boundaries for how you want to live your life and what they want for you as an adult? Yes, absolutely. But to say that you will drag your mother, you drag your kids, that ain't good. If I was Tasha K, I would have used my ninth grade education court. I would have been like, you know, I've been thinking about this thing and I'm so, I, I don't know how I got here to where I'm sitting in this seat on the stand. I have a ninth grade education. Some things are still difficult for me to grasp. So when I was reporting those things on CardiB, I actually thought they were true. I was hearing them. I'm a blogger, I'm a YouTuber. I actually believed they were true. I mean, she should have said that. Her attorneys are failing her, guys. They are the worst. You need, if you are listening to this, you need to find out who her attorneys are so you don't hire them. Again, everything I'm saying on this channel is alleged. And a lot of people are saying, like I heard a lot of other YouTubers saying, Cardi B's kids are going to grow up, they're going to Google her and they're going to see this and hear about this and that and the other. Let's be real. I'm in my 50s. I was around when the only communication really were newspapers, the landline telephone, and the yellow pages, and maybe some other forms of communication that were not as technologically advanced as we are today. I say that because Google, it would not surprise me if Google would not even be around when Cardi B's kids grow up. Google may find themselves in the position of the landline telephone where they are gone. They've had to transform into a different business. Look at what's happened to all the phone companies. Google, Verizon, all those people have bought them up. So for people to be concerned about her children when her children get older, I was once a little girl with a landline, and now look at me. I'm in my 50s and there's no more landline practically. The Z generation today doesn't even know what a landline is. So her children may grow up and Google may be non existent. Google is worth 790 some billion dollars. Somebody needs to sue them for what they're doing to the black people over here on these channels. And that's real. I'm looking into that because of what they're doing to my channel. I've been on here for 59 minutes and only five, it's been between 5 and 7 people. The same 5 and 7 people who come over here all the time are here now. They've changed their name. One of you I've already had to block. I wanted to just say, in spite of my commentary here, the most important fact is that Tasha K could have avoided all of this. She could have avoided all of this because now you got the US Marshals and the US Treasury sitting in court with you, which means they are watching you. They are watching you. Something's about to go down. And you need to take this a lot more seriously, Tasha K. I mean, you have 1 million views, and that's good. That's a blessing compared to most of us. I'd be happy to get even 1,000 at this point, but you have, and I could have had 1,000, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you, Google is keeping me from getting that. They're upset that I reported them to the Department of Justice, and I've reported them to the FCC, and they're upset about those reports. And so now, the same 6 people that I see here now, they come here all of the time. Um, but I like Tasha K. I like Cardi B. So this commentary is nothing against them. I really dislike that they are in this position. People keep saying, I've even heard other YouTubers say, "Oh, we have 2 black women in this position." These are not 2 black women. The Cardi B is a colorist, okay? She's made some comments. I can't believe all the black women who are out here, saying stuff like that. Now, I like Cardi B's music. I agree. I like how she's grown as a young woman. I don't agree. I'm a black woman, so when you say something negative about me, and then I see you with a black man married to him, I'm kind of like, okay, something's wrong with you. You don't like black women, but you are married to a black man. Okay. Um, Nonetheless, she has grown as an individual. She really has. So I cannot take that from her. And she's a very pretty young woman, very beautiful young star. Um, Tasha K is also very beautiful, beautiful cocoa brown eyes. But I think she should have played up her ninth grade education. Her attorney should have told her to do that, because that would have resonated with the jurors and even with the judge to some degree, caused him to have some leniency, hopefully. But she didn't do that. She has bad attorneys, you guys. I can't say that enough. And if you go back to the beginning of the video, I'm not going to go over any of that information again. Like I said, I've been on here 59 minutes. That's 59 minutes too long, and no one again is in the comments for the 134th time, because Google, these people on here now, like this person here, these are not these are not subscribed. Google has really disabled my channel. And they do it on every video because there's a hacker involved, and they're doing it with StreamYard. They're doing it with StreamYard. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. You know, I had hoped to at least have some comments here, but I wasn't going to come on here to do anything or to say anything. Uh, but I did, just because of, listening to so many people that I just didn't agree with. And so I want to say to you guys, many blessings to you. Peace, blessings, and love. I forgot whatever my closing was. I'm gonna have to come up with a really good closing. Um, but I hope that you guys read your Bibles. We are going through a lot. Russia, China, and North Korea are coming for us. North Korea is sending up missiles. Um, the Bible says that it will be as it was in the days of Noah, when people were marrying and giving in marriage and eating and drinking, and suddenly it was over. So you do need to definitely make sure that we recognize Yahweh in heaven. So I'm going to go. Thank you guys for showing up. Have a good one. Peace, blessings, and have a great year. Bye bye.